Ask the questions. Nick News with Linda Ellerby.
It's no mystery why some history gets lost. Usually it's because that particular piece of history is embarrassing to a country. Take what happened in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It began because of racial hatred. 35 city blocks were burned to the ground. Hundreds of black Americans were killed. It was the worst civil disturbance since the Civil War. Yes, it happened more than 80 years ago, but many Americans today don't even know what happened, and that's disturbing because if you don't know history, you just might repeat it.
I always knew about Tulsa and its rich history. I loved hearing about black people and why they came to Oklahoma, and how they came, fleeing lynchings and looking for a better way of life. A lot of these blacks who came, descendants of slaves, set up all black towns, and that created the Greenwood area.
It was really a beautiful place down there on Greenwood.
Greenwood was our main business street at the time, and Greenwood ran up to Archie, and Archie would be the first street on the north side of the Frisco tracks, and the Frisco train tracks separated the colored from the whites. Our little city was such a happy little city at the time.
They had professionals, doctors, lawyers, teachers. They had schools, churches, and it became so successful that Booker T. Washington called this the Negro Wall Street.
I'm going to inform you about a horrible atrocity that took place in our city 79 years ago. Some people remember it as the Tulsa Race Riot of 1921.
This riot is not talked about, not even in the black community. And we have asked some survivors, why didn't you tell your children? I said, I didn't want them to fear. I didn't want them to have hatred in their hearts. I just wanted to forget it. Whites didn't teach about it. It wasn't in the textbooks. And we know why. It was a blot, a stain. They just wanted to forget this, so they did. My name is Eddie Faye Gates. I am a historian.
Well, events were set in motion when a young black man named Dick Rowland was accused of assaulting a young white woman named Sarah Page, who operated the elevators at Tulsa Drexel Building.
Dick Rowland supposedly went to use the elevator in the Drexel building. He stumbled or fell against Sarah Page. She screamed. A clerk came running out. He told a Tulsa Tribune reporter that the girl had been assaulted in the elevator.
The paper said a lynching was going to take place. In the headlines, the article said, "To lynch the Negro tonight."
He was arrested and taken to the courthouse where a crowd of nearly 2,000 whites soon gathered, when rumors of a possible lynching spread later that evening. A group of about 100 blacks gathered at the courthouse. A confrontation took place outside the courthouse and the two groups exchanged gunfire.
That was the beginning.
I would be a survivor of the race riot. My name is Otis G. Clark. The morning the shooting started, I was down at the funeral home. Whites had got up on the Midland Valley track, which cut me off from my home. When I crossed the street, I could see men down between my home and the funeral home with guns. I had to take the chance to try to go cross. I could have got shot.
I was almost 6 years old, and I looked down at, I thought firecrackers popping and debris stuff flying through the air. I thought it was little birds. And then I saw trucks of bodies being hauled someplace, I don't know. My name is Genevieve Elizabeth Jackson, and I live in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
The Tulsa Race Riot destroyed this black community. The 35-block area was wiped out.
We lost everything.
The sad part was when they had came home and their homes were burned down.
It planted something in my mind that I won't ever forget.
There's a lot of folks missing that we didn't even see them no more.
One of the mysteries of this race riot, the city seemed not to have put forth the effort that was needed to protect this area. Race relations were very poor at the time, and that was not just typical of Tulsa, that was typical all over the state, all over the nation. Black people just were not considered very important in those days.
A lot of the people were jealous of what people had down on Greenwood at that time. They couldn't stand black people being prosperous. You take the younger generation that's coming on now, it's something that they don't know about. It's something they'll never experience, probably.
I think it's important that we learn about the Tulsa race riots so it won't happen again.
Greenwood did rebuild after the riot. It will never be the old Greenwood. And really that's good. Citizens should not be locked in because of color. There's already been healing. Knowledge is power.
We'll be right back after these messages.